morning. So today I have Kapil with us, who is an entrepreneurial, transformational business leader who knows how to take businesses to the next level. He ensures that all the businesses that he works with are mostly efficient and profitable, which is something that's very important because, you don't want to be a part of a business that's going downhill. Let's welcome Kapil on 10 Minutes of Hiring Wisdom, where he will tell us about what he has learned along the way, how we can learn from his insights, and what it takes to be an entrepreneur in the 21st century. Hi, Kapil. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Meenal. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for joining us, Kapil. I'd love to hear about your experience, where you work, and what your position is within the company.
Sure. So currently I work at Author by Humana, which is a business segment within Humana Incorporated. It's a healthcare insurance company, and our main focus has been Medicare Advantage. And Medicare Advantage typically comes in, our demographics are over 65 of age. So once you attain the age of 65, you have an option to get Medicare straight from the government, or you can choose a private insurers like Humana, and be on a plan through us in your counties. So
Okay.
my role has
Sorry, go
been,
ahead.
uh, just to complete the thought. I had been here. I joined here in 2019 with the intent of starting something brand new. I was hired to start a brand new engineering organization. I was the first hire, and I came in to set the structure and get the right skill set. It was really difficult to find, as you can imagine.
Okay. And I'm very interested to hear you worked with a very well-known company before this, was with JP Morgan. So how was the transition like from going for a company which is well established with certain levels of hierarchy, with certain levels of procedures? You went to a company where you were the first hire and you built in the whole processes and everything. So how was the transition like for you?
It was amazing, actually. The journey was great. So JP Morgan, what I left there was a huge organization. I think it was a little over 100 people when I left, all engineers facing out. So my group was always responsible for building applications that were front facing. So think about people calling in, and our interactions were a little over 1 billion interactions. And the reason I chose this opportunity was I had done that, I had matured that process, and here there was an opportunity to start something at the ground level. And it's good to reset once in a while. And the best part was the technologies in play were amazing. So we were starting off 100% cloud native, which is obviously the trend right now. More than a trend, I think it's the right thing to do. Right? It's like toothpaste. Why would you make your own toothpaste when you can go and buy it? With that mindset. So that was the
Okay.
idea of what we can leverage from, as a commodity versus specialize and burn our calories and focus on something that we are really good at.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing that. My next question for you would be a follow-up question regarding that. So you mentioned that you created the processes and everything. You started the company from scratch with like when it came to different things, when it came to hiring processes and everything. So can you maybe specify regarding what were some of the challenges that you faced from going from an existing one-loan company to a company that where you had to do everything? Because I think a lot of people have to wear different hats and everything, but I'd love to hear your perspective on how that went.
Sure. Just to be clear, so I was brought in, as a first hire on the engineering side, right? So
Okay.
I'm the head of software engineering. So I was reporting into a CTO at the time, who eventually became the CEO or the president of this little business segment. So to answer your question, uh, it was very interesting because I really enjoyed working at wearing multiple hats, starting from negotiating contracts, identifying who are going to be some of our strategic partners as we are building these relationships. And more importantly, as we started to hire, we very quickly realized that what we are looking for, were in some lack, for the lack of better word, they were unicorns, right? Because now you look for people with experience, but you want them on the latest technology or the latest tech stack. It doesn't happen that way. So we realized very quickly, and we pivoted from that model. And well, what I mean by that is, instead of looking for people with experience, it was more about what relevance do they have for what we are looking for, and if they have the right attitude, because technology is ever changing.
Okay. Um, what kind of attitude are you specifically speaking about? Because I think cultural fit these days is so important because, yes, you want to find people that do have the skills that are required for them to do the job, but you also want people with the right attitude. And according to you, what is the right attitude for your company specifically that in which people will thrive in if they do decide to work for your specific company?
Sure, it's attitude and aptitude, I would say. And from the aptitude standpoint, it's a learning aptitude, right? Because it's not fair to assume that we moved from rotary phones to cell phones to smartphones. So similarly, if you're looking at technology, technology changes every 3 to 5 years, and your programming languages will change. Some of your key fundamentals that you use, they would remain as is, but the overlying changes that you use or the development tools that you use, they keep on evolving. So you need to have the right attitude towards adapting to the change, open to change because change is constant.
Okay, I love that. Change is constant. I think people who embrace the change and understand that things will be ever changing and who try to keep up with the change are people who essentially thrive in ambiguous environments, because I think life is always making plans. When you actually plan it, things always don't work out, especially the pandemic. I think the pandemic was definitely the biggest example of it all, where we were busy in our day to day lives, but now businesses have to go hybrid. Some of them went off online completely, so I think it's very interesting for you to share that. So thank you for sharing that. My last question for you, Kapil, would be: is your company hiring? What kind of positions are open so that if people are listening to this, they know what to apply for and where to seek jobs from?
So right now, I think I believe at the organization level, yes, there are lots of as I represent one of the business segments, and there are many different business segments. There are lots of opportunities that are open. I encourage everybody to go log in on our career site and see what's open and where they can apply. But on the technology side, as you're looking to apply or open up for roles, one feedback to all candidates would be yourself, be authentic. You don't have to fabricate your resume. You are who you are. Just represent yourself. And if there's an opportunity, take that on your face as a learning opportunity to go back, sharpen those skills, and get back in. Right? There are lots of jobs. I think at the beginning you talked about hiring is it's a very interesting time we are in right now. There's still people looking for jobs, and there are companies that are not finding the candidates. And I think the gap between the two is exactly that, where anybody who has skirted around the technology doesn't mean that they have really worked on the technology. So if you feel that is your passion, go with your passion, spend some time, educate yourself. Self learning, I think, is very important at all stages. It should never stop. And then that'll bring you forward.
Okay, well, you heard it from Kapil, who is a successful entrepreneur who's worked with a well established company, went for a company being the first hire for the engineering team, and has thrived since then. So he definitely knows what to do, and we should definitely pay attention to the advice that he gives. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Kapil, for sharing your wonderful insights with us. It was an absolute pleasure learning about you, how the health tech industry you're changing it through insurance, especially for the demographics 65 and above. That's something that's very important. So thank you so much for coming on the show, for sharing about your wonderful company and showcasing your wisdom with us. It was an absolute pleasure.
Likewise. Thank you, Mino. Thank you for having me.